Hey guys, PowerSplit here, and this is going to be a Photoshop tutorial for you guys. This is going to be the first episode in a series of I don't know how many, just going to be telling you some like beginner tips for Photoshop. Mainly like things like YouTube, like say channel backgrounds, like video borders, stuff like that. But this is aimed at beginners, so if you're a Photoshop Pro, you can watch this if you want to be. I don't really care, but it's mainly aimed at beginners. So basically, this episode is just going to show you the stuff you're going to want to know what to be able to do when you're using Photoshop. So basically, down here on the left hand side, over here, you've got all your different things. So you've got the different types of select tool. I'll probably a rectangle you first see, that'll be on that scene. You've just got all the different select tools you can use on these first bits. And there's like them. And here's like the paintbrush, eraser. This is the thing that if you see there's a thing and it's got a little arrow in the bottom right corner of the actual square. If you hold down, it'll come up with the options that you can pick. So it look like a brush tool. You can use that for the pencil, the color replacement, or the mix brush tool. And then it's also like that. Say this clone sample pattern stamp tool. Gradient paint bucket. That'll probably on gradient at first, but I prefer paint buckets. That's the one I actually use the most. So the things you're gonna really want to be using, we're probably gonna be using. Well, obviously you're going to be using the select tool, quick selection maybe, lasso tool, brush tool, pencil tool, the eraser obviously if things go wrong, paint fill, pen tool if you're outlining something, text tool probably for adding text and stuff. And then, yeah, that's probably what I'm going to be using. See on this bar here, at the moment, because we haven't got a document open and we're not clicked on it, if we click on paintbrush, it'll show us like you can change the size of your brush, like 5,000 or 1 or whatever. I'm just going to keep it about 14 for now. It's different modes you can have for your brushes, so you can have dissolve, behind, clear, darken, yeah, so on. You can just read through them if you want, try different ones out, but normal is just what we're going to keep on. Opacity, which is basically how much you can see something. So I'll give an example of that later in the video, hopefully. So if you have 2 layers and you want to only be able to see part of a layer, you can lower the opacity. So it's basically lowering like how transparent something is. So if you have that on 0, basically you won't be able to see the actual layer. Then we've got flow. Then on the right hand side here, it'll be on your color thing at the top. So you've got your colors, RGB, change them to whatever you want. Keep it on black for now. But you can enter different values. If you don't know what color, or you can just use the save button. If you want a specific color, say if you're coloring in something, you can just search it up on the internet and it'll just type in RGB value for whatever color you want, and then you usually be able to find them. Then you've got your adjustments here for like adjustments. Then you've got the layers box here, which is quite useful. This is what we're going to be using for layers, different layers on top of each other. That's the opacity can come into play there. So what we're going to do first is just go File, New. And you can name it what you want. So we'll just do Tutorial, Preset Custom. Then we're going to do 1080 by 720 pixels. It's just for a test. You can do what you want, but that's usually what the standard HD video size on YouTube is. So blah 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 blah. We can leave that for now. You don't really need to get into depth with that. And just click OK. Then this will come up. This is your drawing. You can draw on there with the brush tool if you want. Doesn't really matter what you do. Just press Ctrl Z to undo that because we don't really need that. Then you see down here we got the laser thing. So if you press that button there, which is like a piece of paper with a folded corner edge, that'll create a new layer. So this is called layer 1. You can right click on it, merge down. You can just do different things like that with it. We don't really need to do anything. If you just double click on the actual name, you can rename it. So we'll just do test 1. Then I'm just going to create another layer. Test 2. So say on test 1, we can get this and draw a circle. Let's go to test 2, put it in blue, and draw another circle in blue. As you can see, the blue square in the second layer is over the blue circle in the second layer is over the black one in the first layer, because this layer is higher. If you drag that and put it under it, it'll swap them around, because that's like basically it's the order of what it'll show. Now, as I was saying before, the opacity. So we've got this test layer 2 with the blue. If we've got the opacity, let's drag this down a bit. to about 30, and then start drawing on the layer. You see that brush is like, that's the same blue as this over here, apart from it's a lower opacity, so you can't see as well. Get up to about 66, it's the same again, just a bit lighter. Then we put it all the way up to 100, and then it's the full blue that you can actually see. Then you've got layer opacity down here, so if you click test 2, make sure you selected that opacity here. If you drag this down, the actual opacity of the whole of the layer 2 will become less visible, so you can see what's below it. If you get that to 0, it'll go disappear. So if you drag this over so the black one's over, and then drag this down to 35, you can just see the outline of the black there, but you can mainly see the blue, the test layer 2, which is actually below it. You see that more due to the lower opacity. Let's go drag that over. Yeah, opacity 100. So that's just opacity and stuff, which you might want to use if you're making YouTube backgrounds, stuff like that, just random stuff. So now you can use the eraser tool. I've got it set mode here to block because I prefer it, 'cause it's like a block sort of thing. You don't have to if you don't want to. Then you can just erase a tiny bit of that, which will come in useful if you're making a background or something and you make a mistake. You can just grab this. That's why I prefer the block, because it's much more like easy just to get little bits instead of with the brush. If you see, kind of just make that bigger. You can make it bigger if you look on your keyboard where you've got like not the curved brackets. If you use not the curved brackets, if you see like next to the enter button, there's like, I don't know what they're called, square brackets or whatever. If you use them, you can change the size of your brushes. So like if you go on the paintbrush tool, if I go increase in size and decrease in size again, and paint on there. Text tool. Get that up there. So yeah, these are the features we're mainly going to be using, because they're the main features you're going to want if you think about it using if you're making YouTube backgrounds, stuff like that. That's the main feature you're going to want. It's just a brush tool, eraser tool, select tool. Select tool, I can select this area. Then if I can just click the delete, if I just click the delete key, it'll delete all of that layer. Go on test 1, delete, but it'll only delete the stuff on the layer you've selected. But say if you wanted to put this on here, then put this on there, and usually in most like image types, I think JPEG and stuff, it can't handle the actual different types of layers. So what you have to do is you have to merge it. So if you right click merge down, it'll merge it all into one layer. So now you've got this test 1 layer with both the contents of the other layer we had as well, which we've merged. So that's one thing you might want to be able to do, is merge things down. But yeah, on Photoshop you can just play around with it, do whatever you want, make little, you can just doodle on it if you want. If you can buy like tablets, like there's Wacom tablets and stuff which you can connect to Photoshop to make it easier to draw if you want to do like art on it or anything like that. But yeah, thanks for watching this tutorial. In the next tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make a border around a video. So if you may be watching those YouTubers and they have like a border around the video explaining what's happening in the video, maybe if you're watching a Call of Duty video, and I know some YouTubers used to have like their current class on the side and stuff like that. I'll show you how to make that in the next video. But make sure to subscribe and like this video if you do like this video. So thank you very much for watching this power split. I'll see you guys later.